Peace family, this is Rashad. Thank you for coming back to watch another video. After my last video, I had a few questions about the higher self. I had a few questions from people. What do you mean, the higher self? What are you talking about, the true self? So I felt it was only right that I come and give an explanation of my perspective and my viewpoint of what it means to be connected with your higher self. Why should we connect to our higher self? What is the higher self and what are its benefits? How do we connect to it? So throughout my own journey, self-discovery, meditation, I've heard about the true self. I've read about the higher self and the true self. And from what I've learned and what I've come to believe, I believe our higher self is the aspect of ourself that projects down the soul known as me, known as you. For example, there are multiple dimensions, right? There's different aspects of us that reside in these different dimensions. And our higher selves, there are some that reside maybe on the 5th dimension, most reside on the 6th dimension, and they are all knowing. They are on the other side of the veil, so they are aware of what is going on while we are projected down here. They project a very small portion of themselves down here. That's how you get soulmates. That's how you get twin flames. When your higher self projects down two individualized aspects of consciousness and you meet, that becomes your soulmate. When it projects down one and that soul splits into two, that's when you get what people know as the twin flame. So that is the quick, I guess, gist of what the higher self is. And that individualized portion of consciousness that gets projected and dropped down here, known as me and you, in this meat suit, it squeezes down from the high vibration it is, squeezes down and down, gets lower and lower and lower in vibration until it becomes dense. And part of coming here is going through the veil of forgetfulness. We don't remember. Part of the reason why we decide to do this is because when you are an eternal being, a powerful being that is of source, that was created by the source and is a small piece of it, individualized to have experience, and you know all and can experience and know everything, then what's the point? If you can do everything already, then what do you want to do? You want to experience limitation. You want to experience what it feels like to love, to have pain, to feel joy. You want to know how it feels to not know everything. Does that make sense? So we come here and we forget who we are and what we are, and part of it is to see, will we be able to remember who we are? Will we be able to remember our power? And the best way to do that is by coming over and getting over and growing through adversity. Now, why is it important that we connect and align with this higher self? Why is it important that we cultivate a channel and connection to our higher self? Because our higher self is always there. It's always watching. That's what you know is intuition, the gut feeling. Our higher self gives us nudges, guides us, and helps us along the way, because time is not real. Think of your higher self as your future self. Time isn't real. Everything, the past and the future, is all happening right now, you see. So your higher self, basically what we're living now is what we had to go through in order to become our higher self. And then once it reaches a certain level for its own evolution, it decides, I'm gonna go back and now help my past selves along the way. And that's known as us getting gut feeling, intuition. Something just told me go left. I don't know what it was. That voice in your head when you're thinking of making a bad decision and you know what you should do. When it's a situation and you know what you should do, but you go and do the opposite. It's that little voice that is always trying to help you and guide you along, and it's real quiet for most people. Most people don't even hear it. They go along with what their ego wants. Most people are not living as their true self and who they really are, and they don't realize that the synchronicities and coincidences that happen all around them are actually hints and nudges from their higher self. So, how do we connect to our higher self? Why is that important? Because when you connect to your higher self, you are who you truly are. What do I mean by that? I believe as a kid, we're probably as close to being our true self as we can be here on this planet. That's why even in the Bible it says to come to the kingdom of heaven, you must come as a child. Because a child is pure of heart. Up until the age of 7, a child is learning, soaking in like a sponge, everything that is going on around them from their parents, from preschool, daycare, from TV, music, the games, the way they observe interactions go down between others. Kids absorb all of this and they take it in, and it slowly becomes part of who they are and their personality. All their traumas, the way the parents react to good things, the way parents react to bad things, it's all absorbed and forms a personality. If they're like, oh, I got yelled at because I did this thing, they go on making sure they never express in that way again. You see what I'm saying? And then eventually 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, you get a person that is depressed, has anxiety, doesn't know what their purpose is, can't figure out what they're meant to do in life. And it's all because they believed that they were this persona that was built through all the years of traumas, trying to protect themselves, whatever the circumstance or case may be. And they develop their ego and their personality, and that's where they live from. And then most people wonder why they're not happy. They're not expressing or being who they really are. You have to express in some way. You have to create in some way, because when you create, you allow yourself to get in a flow state, and you allow yourself to clear the thoughts that you have, and then you allow your higher self to come through to you. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's important to create. And I'm not just talking about creating pictures, stuff like that. If you do that, great, keep doing it. Don't stop, trust me. But are you creating a higher vibration within yourself? That's another key aspect of aligning, connecting with your higher self, is trying to maintain a higher vibration. You maintain a higher vibration by doing things that put you in love, thinking about things that put you in love, and gratitude. Give your gratitudes, say it with your heart, feel it when you say it. You'll feel yourself expand and you move into a higher vibration when you're in peace, joy, when you do anything that gives you any fulfillment in life, you're in a higher vibration. If you're in fear, separation, hate, distrust, victim mentality, they're out to get me mode, if you're in that mode, you are operating in a low vibration. If you're operating in a low vibration, your perception is limited. Your perception is limited. Your perception is distorted. And now you're thinking that someone looking at you a funny way is out to get you. But that might just be their face. You see what I'm saying? When you're in a low vibration, you start to see all the negative things around you, and it brings you lower and lower into a vibration. Your perception gets limited and distorted, and now the things that are trying to come through you is distorted and twisted so much it's not anything that actually is trying to help you. It's stuff that thinks I'm not worth it. Degrading yourself, degrading others, being in judgment. When you are in judgment, you cannot be in unconditional love. Being in unconditional love is important because that's the highest vibration you can be. And when you're at the highest vibration you can be, you have a more clear channel to your higher self. When you are in alignment with your higher self, then that's when you manifest the best. That's when you have access to higher dimensional knowledge that can help you and others. That's when you begin to feel what is happening around you. You can begin to feel the energies that are happening around you. You walk in a room, you know, most people, when you walk in a room, you can feel if there's just an argument. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. You're like, oh, there's tension in the air in here, because you're becoming aware of the vibration in there. Our auras and our energy speaks to each other before we verbally do it. So that's why you can feel and tell if you don't like someone right away, or if someone gives you a weird vibe, or you can tell if you connect with someone right away and you're like, wow, I feel like I've known you before. You know what I'm saying? But when you align with your higher self, now we are here in human form, and we have to have an ego to a certain extent, because our ego is what distinguishes us from someone else. If we had absolutely no ego, we couldn't tell the difference between us and everything around us, and that's because we're all one. But we're here to have a certain experience, so we all think we're separate and individual, but that's part of the matrix, and that's also part of the programming that the powers that be implement upon us. But now is a different time. This is a time of awakening. This is a time of the old coming to light and moving out, while the new comes in, and we have a new way of life. Now, some, they don't see the vision. Some might be skeptics or cynical. And those people, unfortunately, they're gonna move in a different timeline. But when you are aligned with your higher self, not only do you have a higher perspective, but you just see the beauty in the lessons and the reasoning and everything. You walk around in bliss, and you walk around in the moment. You observe things as they come, and you process it, and then you're able to let it go and learn from it. And you're able to help others, and guess what? Even if others aren't aware, you are affecting them in a beneficial way. They feel happier around you. You start to notice things are happening for you more often. You're like, man, I'm lucky. Oh, this happened, that happened. Because when you live in the vibration of the things you want, they come to you. If you're in a begging, beseeching mentality, and you're saying, please happen for me for this, the thing you want is to have a vibration for it to align with you, because you're in a begging mode that you're in lack and that you don't have. Now, when you align to the vibration of what you want, and you get to the point of all of my needs are met, and you raise your vibration, and you're giving the universe the message that all of my needs are met, then you allow the things you desire to come to you. There are many different aspects of aligning and connecting with your higher self. The most highest aspect are the enlightened ones, the Christ, Buddhas, yogis. Those are the people that have aligned with their higher self. They're not any longer just aligning to it, they are embodying it. They embody their higher self. The higher self is what Jesus talked about. Jesus never said, I am the Christ. He said the Christ will return. And what he meant by that is the Christ consciousness will return here. And when you are the Christ, you are the higher self. You are unconditional love. So that brings me to, how do we connect to it? Well, for me, the most helpful thing that's allowed me to form a connection with my higher self is presence and being, developing a practice of presence and being. When you develop a practice of presence and being, for me that's meditation, like I mentioned before. You sit down, you get in a quiet space, you take deep breaths into your belly, you breathe with your diaphragm and not in your upper chest, and you tell your body, I am relaxed, I am calm. Everybody take a breath. Feel how calm you get. You get so calm, you get quiet, and you become aware of everything. It's crazy because it sounds opposite. In order to connect with the heavens and your guidance, you have to be super duper grounded, and you have to be fully in your body. So you get grounded, you sit down, you breathe, connect with nature, whatever it has to be. You start breathing and you focus on your breath. You say a mantra, you do something that is a vehicle for your where you're at now consciously to where you're trying to get consciously, which is a connection with who you really are. So once you quiet your mind, you become ultra aware of what is around you, then you realize, oh my goodness, I'm so ultra aware of what is around me, every feeling, every sound, every creak, every scratch. But you don't look at it and identify with it, you just observe it. You say, oh, I felt a sensation in your mind. I felt a sensation on my leg. You become ultra aware. And then you become so aware of what's around you that you realize who you are. You have a realization that, oh my goodness, I am pure awareness. I am the thing that's aware of the breath. I'm aware of what's going on around me. I'm aware of the thought that is passing through. But I'm not it. I'm not that. So if I'm not what I am aware of and observing, then who am I? And that is the question that every person needs to ask. Who am I? Because those programs that I was talking about earlier, from when you're born till the age of 7, that is not you. That is your ego. That is a personality. We are not that. And I guarantee you, when you turn within, you tune into your heart, you start talking to your inner child, you heal it, then you have a realization of who you really are. And then the people that are not good for your life vibrate out of your life. The things that you're not happy with in your life that bring you anxiety, you realize, I don't need this, I'm gonna change it. And it vibrates out of your life. Once you realize who you really are, you start to realize who everyone else really is. And the more you evolve and the more you go within and the more you're in service of others, because you realize that every single person is you in disguise of being someone else for learning and experience. Once you begin to learn that, you evolve more and more while you're here. And you go from those nudges to now having moments of being in an expanded awareness, to that being your state of being all the time or most of the time, to that just being you. There's no more going back and forth, because sometimes you go up in a state of consciousness and awareness, and you start to embody your higher self, and then you think, you know what, I wanna do this again. I wanna watch something inappropriate, or I just wanna wild out and be ignorant, have fun, and that's fine. We're here to have fun, we're here to experience. You can do that. That is your choice and your free will. But eventually, you start to realize that when you're in that higher state, you are so fulfilled and all your needs feel so met that you don't even want to move back down in consciousness. You don't want to go deliberately harm yourself to have fun for the moment. Now, no one's perfect. I'm not claiming I am. I have vices, don't get me wrong, but I'm working on it. I'm aware of it. And that's the first step, is becoming aware. And that's another reason why it's important to meditate or develop a practice of presence of being. You can also do that by writing, going on a bike ride, going on a jog. For some people, that's drawing, painting, doing something that quiets your thoughts and just puts you in the moment. And then you begin to channel or become consciously aware that you're channeling your higher self, because we're always channeling. These physical bodies are not us. When our higher self projects down an individualized portion of consciousness, it's a certain frequency and vibration specifically for this body. So at all times, we're channeling different things. We're channeling different aspects. Our higher self, we might be channeling, or another word for channeling is, maybe expressing. You're expressing the feelings of others around you, because most don't realize that they may be an empath, but others people's energies around you affect you. So you might be in a great mood, then you get to work, or you go in public and you're around someone, and the next thing you know, you're feeling bad, feeling down about your life. And a lot of people feel that. They feel the collective pain that's in the world, and they think that it's theirs. They wonder why they're depressed and have anxiety, and they might feel great, and then they get around a certain person and then they feel terrible, and they wonder why. And it's because we're all connected. And when you get around other people's auras and they start to co-mingle, if you're not strong in your power, then your energy and mood will synchronize with theirs. Now, when you're aware of this, you can do things to protect yourself. When you're aware of this, then you start to meditate and you get yourself in a certain state of consciousness, like gratitude and love, peace and joy, and you're able to hold that and live and walk in that, because your life becomes a walking meditation. You go from only being in that state while you're sitting to all of a sudden you realize you're in that state all the time, and you raise your vibration. Then you alchemize the lower vibrations. When you walk into a room, everyone's feeling bad, and just by you being there and you commanding it in your mind quietly or whatever, they start to lift. The people around you start to be happier when you're around. There's a lot of reasons of why it's beneficial for you to go within to who you really are. And it's very important, and I guarantee you, you might look at me like, oh, he's nuts. But I guarantee you, do it for 1 month. Sit down 5 to 10 minutes a day, 15, 20, slowly build on it for 1 month. 1 month. See how you feel after that month. See if you don't continue sitting your butt down every day and doing that meditation. You can be a skeptic, but until you sit down and have an experience of the Infinite One Creator, until you sit down and you have an experience of the beauty that's all around you, until you sit down and have an experience of vision, a thought, a feeling, a connection to a higher dimensional being or your higher self, then you'll understand. And then you'll be like me, making videos and shit. Ooh, didn't mean to cuss, but yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to get on here. I wanted to give my perspective on the higher self. I know I feel like later I'm gonna look back and say, man, oh, I wish I said this or that. But I was just letting it flow. Just letting it come out, and whatever needed to be said, I let say it. But develop a practice of presence and being, family, I'm telling you. Anyways, I love y'all. I recorded this at night, so good night from my end. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. I leave you all in the love and light of the Infinite One Creator. Peace.